This week on the WriterCon podcast.
I always say to be a good writer, you need to be a good reader.
Welcome to WriterCon, a gathering place for writers to share their knowledge about writing and the writing world. Your hosts are William Bernhardt, best-selling novelist and author of the Red Sneaker books on writing, and Lara Bernhardt, award-winning author of the Wantland Files book series.
Thank you, Jesse Ulrich. Hey there, writers. Thanks for joining us today. We are celebrating our 200th episode. Love the special effects, Jesse. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I can hardly believe it. I kind of remember when we started this podcast. At that time, we had a whisper room, really, as a closed closet that we converted into something where we could record. Lara was doing audiobooks. Then I started recording those Red Sneaker Writer books, writing books on writing, and then I started doing the podcast in the closed closet, and then we upgraded and moved to Jesse and much better equipment, recording, and we were live for a while, but that was just way more trouble.
That was exhausting.
And now we've got Lara on board, and of course, that's when it really clicked. So here's to another 200 episodes, team. Lara, do you have any memories or interviews or moments on all the episodes that stick out in your mind?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to go with, it was such a treat to interview Jerry Eisenberg about his first novel that was on his bucket list to write. He's been writing his entire career as a sports writer. He's been a journalist for decades and decades, but his first novel he published when he was 90, 91. It just goes to show you it is never too late. Go after your dreams, do it. And he's got another novel coming out next year. So good for him.
Yeah. Jesse, how about you? Favorite moments on the podcast?
Well, anytime I'm allowed to make fun of James Patterson is always a delight. So that's always been great. I love that one author. I can't remember his name, but he wrote like I can't remember those Star Trek tie-in novels, or like he'd written for one of the Star Trek video games. That was fun for me.
Dan Martin, thank you. Yes.
That was fun.
William's son, yeah. And he wrote for that Star Trek game. And
that was a good interview. Mm-hmm.
That was a good, we've had a lot of good moments. Mm-hmm. Shall we keep going, guys? 200 more?
Yes.
Or at least,
forever.
Another year. Yeah, forever.
Listen, we will keep doing this podcast until James Patterson appears. How about that?
That really should be the last.
Yeah.
Last
I mean,
episode.
what can we do after that?
That's right. What would come after that? Yeah. You're right.
Okay. Our interview with today is a very special one, as befits the occasion. We're talking to both Will and Julia Bryan Thomas, two married writers that we love. It's particularly special, though, because they were in the first group of interviews I ever did for this podcast way back when. And here they are again, 200 episodes later. Will Thomas, of course, is the author of the award-winning Victorian mystery series featuring Barker and Llewelyn. And Julia is the author of now 5 novels, most recently, The Kennedy Girls. All right? We will talk to them very soon, but first, the news. Okay, calling this the news segment is kind of a major league misnomer because it's really going to be more of a summation of the last 200 episodes, as seems appropriate. I looked through some of the notes I had for previous episodes. They can tell you I never write out in full, but I give suggestions where we're going. Anyway, I found to no one's surprise that the two most prevalent or recurring topics in the news was Amazon and AI. And when you think about it, we've only been talking about AI for a few years, and yet it's already, it's constantly rising to the surface of the news. So that may be telling. Anyway, Amazon is, of course, America's biggest bookseller by far, and the mechanism used by publishers and self-publishers to get their work in front of readers. So obviously it's relevant to this writing podcast. So, Lara, just to summarize 200 episodes or so, is Amazon a force for good in the writing world, or is it the necessary evil we have to deal with whether we like it or not? Or something else in between?
Probably in between, but skewing more towards the necessary evil. I think when I first became interested in writing and was getting excited about the idea of self-publishing, it seemed like a real, a business championing for authors. It seemed like they were on our side, but it's a business more than anything. And it's, I think, become more and more difficult to actually get books out there. It's allowed the market to become very glutted, and it's just, we are where we are. I know people who hopped on board that when they first started distributing digital books, and they had huge readerships and garnered big followings and were making real money at it. And I think that has become very diluted now, and they've grown so big that we have to deal with them, but I'm not so sure it's always good. And we've had one story after another where they have actually caused harm to authors in one way or another. And there's almost no recourse, it feels like. So it does not feel like they are rooting for us anymore.
Jesse, where are you in your relationship with Amazon?
I mean, it's a complicated one because, like, I just got an email from Amazon that my first Kindle I bought 15 years ago. They were like, thank you for being a Kindle customer for this long. Here's a 20% coupon. And that really did get me thinking about how Amazon was more useful when it was just a marketplace. As soon as Amazon started to get into things where it was profiting from things, like it has been a series of just like hurtful to the creators side of it ever since. But again, it is also the largest place to go. So, bookshop.org will never be as big as Amazon because where else can you buy a book and dishwashing tablets and, and microphones and
anything.
Yeah. It's the service merchandise of, internet, stores. But I do think anything we do to democratize the publishing industry is a positive. What is done with that positive can sometimes also be a negative.
Yeah.
So,
well, and on the other side of this, AI is the tool that it seems like everybody keeps saying is going to change everything, but has it? It's sent waves of panic through the writing world, I know, and probably several other worlds. Granted, AI is already doing things that humans used to do, in some cases quicker, though usually not as well. But has that actually changed anything, Jesse? I remember you said on another podcast or on an earlier episode, that you don't want to see AI doing the work of creatives, but where I see it now is mostly, summarizing your email or making memos or kind of dealing with clerical jobs, Is
Good.
that a problem?
No, that's what it should be doing. It should be trying to make our lives easier. Like, why does every technology have to be turned into a thing that's supposed to make billions of dollars? Like, it could actually just be useful. Right? But like, that's the difference between what is good for us as consumers and what is good for the economy are two different things. And AI is a perfect example of that. Like, they're trying to build a couple data centers like outside of Tulsa here. And I'm like, no. Like, you don't get tax breaks for something that doesn't make money yet. That's going to make my life worse. Right. Prove to me this is a worthwhile investment of money first. Don't just like assume that AI is always going to be useful. And again, we're using the term AI for something that has already existed ever since Clippy arrived through Microsoft Office, right? Someone who's just helping us with things. Like, help me, AI, help me with my calendar. Don't make paintings. Don't make videos.
Yeah.
So, Lara, as a writer, and a very good one, is there anything you would be willing to use AI for?
No, not yet. And yeah, I'm probably just going to sound like grumpy old man here, but no, not yet. Yeah, exactly. When I am looking something up online, I absolutely scroll down anything that says, here's what AI found for you. I don't want to see it. I have found incorrect information in that just when glancing over it. So I've learned to skip over that, and I will go look for something that I consider a more reputable source. I want to find something that's not just an AI overview. I don't want it writing anything for me. I teach writing classes. I teach aspiring authors. If somebody can find a way to use that's helpful for them, I guess that's great. But I would worry that it's stealing someone else's words. We got to worry about plagiarism. If we want to write our own stuff, I don't know. I can't think of anything, not even an outline, that I would want its help with.
Okay, well, here's a question for either of you or both. AI does seem to have some capacity for doing research, for finding the answers to questions or information about things. Would you ever read nonfiction, like not a novel? That's great, but like nonfiction, isn't it? But you know what I'm saying. Would you read nonfiction that had been generated by AI?
Like a book or like a research paper I've asked it to write for me?
Oh, well, you probably wouldn't have asked unless you wanted to read the paper, right? So I know that one. No, a book.
No.
Like something, history of World War II, except here it is right on your computer.
No, because, that's not a novel. That's just a resuscitation of facts. That's not what historians do in a nonfiction book. They're trying to tell you a story from a perspective they think is important. And every time AI tries to give its perspective on thing, it quickly turns into, a far-right Nazi-esque thing. So, I don't want it having opinions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust anything in it. I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't want to read it. I wouldn't believe it. One of my adjuncts wrote a paper about AI making up sources, making up cases that didn't exist, court cases that didn't exist, that it was trying to use as precedent. No, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't trust it.
All right, let's move on to Craft Corner. Craft Corner this time comes from our longtime WriterCon friend, Marty Ludlum, author of At First I Was Afraid, the first book in his new disco-themed mystery series. He sent me an email asking if he could do another segment expanding upon his thoughts about Writers' Conference for the 200th episode. So what was I going to say? Yes, of course you can, Marty. So here we go. Marty, take it away.
Craft Corner.
Welcome. This is Marty Ludlum. Today we're talking about the benefits of writer conferences, part dos. That's Spanish. See, we're fun and educational. About me, I write the Disco Divas series featuring the ever-popular hero Donna Summer Wozniacki. Yes, she's named after the disco queen. It's a long story. The first in the series, At First I Was Afraid, I Was Petrified, was released from Babylon Books last year, has won several awards. Check it out. It's available everywhere books are sold. Book 2 in the series, She works hard for the money. Another cheesy Donna Summer reference. Again, I can't help myself. Is available early 2026 from Babylon Books. I'll let you know the exact date later. In part one, the benefits of conferences, I mentioned information and inspiration. That's not the only benefits of going to a writer's conference. Today we'll talk about contests, pitching, beta readers, and an advanced team. First, contests. You enter lots of writing contests at a writer's conference. Again, winning a trophy is good. It motivates in many ways. But I think the real benefit of contests, again, any well-run contest, is everybody who submits will get some kind of feedback. And that feedback on your writing is worth its weight in gold. Even if you didn't win, somebody looking at your writing, again, who doesn't know who you are, but just evaluating your writing, says, here's what's good, here's what's bad. Priceless information. The King, Stephen King, in his book on writing, mentions that writing is so lonely. You can only do it by yourself in complete solitude. And sometimes you just need, crave, want that feedback to motivate you as a writer. Second benefit of going to a conference is pitching. What is it, and should you do it? Pitching, like the name implies, is your sales pitch. Again, typically 60 seconds at max. Short, sweet, direct. Of, hey, what's your book about? Boom. Now it's your turn to talk. You got 60 seconds to maintain their attention. Tell them everything that they need to know about why they need to buy your book right now. And again, whether it's for readers, for agents, for publishers, it's the same sales pitch. This is why your book is worth listening to. Should you do it? Yes, yes, and yes. And again, when you do that at a conference, you'll get priceless feedback on what's good and bad about your sales pitch. Hey, did you mention the genre? Did you mention, is this a novel, novella, short story? Did you mention who the main character is, what's going on? A lot of times you skip those very crucial details that make the reader, the agent, the publisher so concerned about your writing. The third big benefit of going to a writer's conference is finding beta readers. Who? Yeah, who? These are people who read your work in progress and give feedback, both positive and negative. Again, you need both. You need praise on what works, and you need identification on what isn't working. These folks will be your new best friends because they are so crucial to making this process work. Beta readers do come in all shapes and sizes. Some will read your 80,000 word novel and give you a paragraph. Some will read it and give you 20 pages of notes. Both of them are absolutely solid gold as far as keys to improving your writing. Everything they tell you is worth its weight. Follow it like a to-do list rather than as criticism. Last, an advanced team. Again, this is later in the process. Once your manuscript is ready, you've got a publisher, it's going to come out in 60, 90 days. Your advanced team are folks who will talk it up, share the idea on Facebook, wherever you need publicity. Again, they're basically your cheerleaders. Yeah, very interesting. I hear Dallas is getting a pro team next year. That should be exciting. Anyway, one of your conferences that I highly recommend, because I've gone to it repeatedly, and before I leave, I go ahead and sign up for next year. Yeah, it's that good. WriterCon, it's always Labor Day weekend here in Oklahoma City. 60 plus speakers cover all genres of writing. So no matter what you write, nonfiction, history, romance, science fiction, anything, we've got stuff for you. And in addition, there is pitching, there's contests, there's opportunities to meet with writers so you can find beta readers and advanced team. It's priceless. No matter where you are on your writing journey, conferences can help. I love this picture because it's such a perfect metaphor for the real writing journey. It's bumpy, it's uneven, and yeah, you can get splinters. That describes the writing process perfectly. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, contact me at the email below. If not, I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Marty Ludlum. Now, let's talk to Will and Julia Bryan Thomas. Will and Julia, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Great to be here.
Hey there. All right, you know what my first question is going to be. I don't care which of you answers it or both, whatever you want. But if you could offer writers one piece of advice, what would it be?
Do you want to go?
I'll go first. I would say break out of the box. I could have written just your classic Victorian mystery, but that wasn't interesting enough, I guess I would say. Yeah, I had to make a bunch of changes and change the format and change the narrator, and that's what made my series how it is today.
Yeah, I think that's true. What about you, Julia?
I always say to be a good writer, you need to be a good reader. And it's really important to keep abreast of the trends in literature, but also I read such an eclectic mix of nonfiction and classic novels. And then I skim around on some of the more modern literature too. It's really good to read the highest quality that you can so that it shapes you a little bit as a writer.
Yeah, I think that's good advice too. This is a true story. I'm at a college campus giving a talk to, I don't remember, some group of people who actually care about books. Anyway, and a student comes up to me afterward and says, Mr. Bernhardt, could you give me advice? I really want to be a writer, but I hate to read. What do you recommend? And I thought for a moment and said, I recommend you do something else because writing is not going to happen for you. I'm sorry,
right.
but you got to feed the muse, right? You got to read if you want to write. Not
Exactly
necessarily
right.
the same thing you're writing, but you've got to read.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It is such a pleasure to have you two back on the podcast. I think I already mentioned this, but you two were in the group, the first interviews I ever did, and that was about, 7 writer cons ago or something, but I thought you were there at the very beginning. What a blast it would be to have you back for the 200th episode. Was that your first podcast ever?
Yay.
I think it was, yes.
Say yes. I know you've done a few.
It absolutely was.
Cool.
Will, can you tell us about your novels, the Barker and Llewelyn series? I know we have a big fan among our children, but maybe you can share with our listeners about that series.
I get compared to Sherlock Holmes a lot, of course, but I immediately turned a corner and changed completely from the way he envisions it. My character's more a punch first and ask questions later.
The Robert Downey Sherlock Holmes.
Scotsman, very dour Scotsman Baptist, and then he's stuck with an assistant who's the narrator, who is small, artistic, and in every way not really designed to be a detective at all.
Yeah.
So put them together and have my one character totally mouthy and the other one, dour. And that's how the books start.
Well, it's worked magnificently. There have been how many books in this series yet?
17.
17. Holy smokes. You're gaining on Ben Kincaid. I did 19 of those. I think I'm going to do another one just so I can stay ahead of you.
Get back to it.
Okay, Julia.
Yes.
And my memory is not worth anything, but I think when we did that interview for the podcast, I mentioned you were just embarking on your publishing career. But since then, your career has taken off big time. I think, if I remember this correctly, the first time I saw one of your books in the airport, I took a picture and texted it to you. I thought, that is just, man, you're in the big leagues now. How does that feel?
It's really wonderful. We had, after our kids were a little bit older, we thought, what do we want to do? And we thought we would write. And of course, I tried publishing a novel, and I couldn't when Will embarked on his career. So I really started through editing his books and working with him and getting to know the process, getting a feel for what that felt like. But I continued to try to get published, and I finally hit on it. My first success was For Those Who Are Lost in 2022, which I wrote during the pandemic. I actually wrote that book in 3 months, edited it in the 4th month. It's about 400 pages, but it was during the pandemic summer, and I just had the opportunity to be off. I was a school teacher, and I needed something to occupy my time and think about. So it's just been an extraordinary journey to kind of come into my own. I enjoy helping Will and, being on the editing side and just being there. And he's just been so incredibly helpful to me too. So it's been a really wonderful process.
That's fabulous. Now, your most recent novel is The Kennedy Girl, which came out January earlier this year. Yeah. I think that's a little bit of a change of pace for you, isn't it? Can you tell us about that one?
After I wrote For Those Who Are Lost, which is set during World War II, from 1940 to 1945, with a little glimpse of after, I sat down and I wrote a book set in 1955, and I realized I really love writing historical fiction, but I didn't necessarily want to be pigeonholed as World War II. So I wrote the Radcliffe Ladies Reading Club, which came out in 2023, and that was just a great experience. But The Kennedy Girl, it's set in 1960, so it qualifies as historical, but just kind of more modern era. And it's a spy novel. It's a bit of a thriller. So that it was fun. I had to do a lot more research, and it was just so challenging to sit down and write a book like that.
Okay, guys, all this talking about books is great, but of course, what we really want here on the podcast is the gossip. So what's it like? 2 writers living together in the same household? I want the dirt. Julia, you go first.
You know what everyone thinks is that we sit at little desks side by side and we tap it out and we've got our coffee and, we interrupt each other all day long. But actually, we both write on laptops and we move around the house wherever we're comfortable. Sometimes we'll even write outside. And so we kind of have to be a little far apart, or else we would just talk and not write. So
now we're often kind of shoulder to shoulder, Lara, me on the recliner, of course, you on the, so I don't think we have a chit chat problem unless there's a good reason for it.
No, but there are times that I go somewhere else if I need to, because there's always something. You will laugh at something, even if you're not chit-chatting, and I have to know what it was that caught your attention, or here come the cats wanting attention. So yeah, sometimes I try to isolate a little bit just so I can
You can't see it here, but we're literally joined at the hips here.
Well, I was about to ask you, Will, what's your rebuttal or your take on this spousal writers in the same household?
Well, I've actually been in the situation where the dog is in my lap and my computer is on the dog.
I get that, yeah.
So it's cozy.
Anywhere you can find a spot to write. It doesn't seem to be one constant place to be writing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm the chatter, by the way. He can focus better than I can.
That makes sense. As I mentioned, I'm strangely, right, most of the time in a recliner now, but exactly what you said, except for us, it's cats. Cats get in my lap. If you're on a desk, forget it. You're going to write like this. That's never going to work. So, but on a recliner, there's this big arm over there where I can put the laptop and write sideways.
That's exactly it.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to point out, I think that we are the only two couples that have both been nominated for the Oklahoma Book Award.
I know.
Side by side.
I bet who else would it be? I can't think of anyone. I bet you're right.
I think you two were nominated for the first time the year before, at the same time the year before we were. And then we were all in that second year.
And then all of us. Yes, yeah. And then both of us, both couples together the next year. That's what I
by all rights, we should hate each other, but somehow not.
That's not how writers do. No.
Exactly right.
Will, how have you seen the mystery world change? I mean, you talked about you have 17 books out now. You've obviously been writing for some time. I mean, books take a while to write. How has the mystery world changed in the years since you started publishing? Or have you even noticed a change?
There have been changes. When I started, the field was all female. And I came in with, my knowledge of martial arts and things like that. And I got in there. Actually, Anne Perry gave me a piece of information or suggested something for me. And we were talking about this earlier. It was Donald Moss. He was her editor at the time, and he wrote a book called Writing the Breakout Novel, and that was the book that I studied that helped me to write the first book that, got a publisher.
The good one.
Oh, I knew Anne. Wasn't she a wonderful person? I just adored her. Kind of person who, you're at some banquet table and she's super nice and you think, yeah. And then she actually called my editor the next day and asked for a copy of my book and read it and sent me a postcard afterwards telling me how much she enjoyed it. I mean,
so nice.
Class act.
Absolutely.
So Laura asked Will about the mystery world. Let me direct this to you, Julia. I want to talk about Source Books, who I know, of course, has published you in the past, and we're just in the news. I think we covered this story about basically their sales are so fantastic that they should be considered one of the big five publishers, even though they're actually owned in part by another of the big five publishers. But the point is that sales fueled by people like you have turned them into a hugely successful operation. So what's your take? Is it helpful to be part of this booming large publishing house?
It's a wonderful publishing house. I've really enjoyed working with them. I've had the most wonderful team of professionals to work with, from editors to copy editors, and the most unbelievably professional publicists. I feel like in some ways I see more action through my publisher than even Will does, which is kind of interesting. So they are on it. They really care about their writers, and they put out such a big push for every book. I know for the Kennedy Girl, they came up with paper dolls. My book's set in 1960 in the fashion world. It's a spy novel. And they came up with paper dolls because that was what you would have seen in 1960. For my World War II book, there was a music playlist of hits. I love old movies and I love old music. So they had me put together my favorite playlist of World War II music and recipes from that time period. So I had each of my characters present a recipe that they loved. So I just feel like the attention to detail is just really there with that company.
So you're giving a thumbs up to trad publishing because, people will speak on either side.
Yeah.
Will, you, of course, have had to endure being published by the small, little-known publisher Simon and Schuster, right? Yes, that was a joke. They're obviously another Big Five publisher and huge and successful and distributing my next book. So you're not going to hear me dissing them. But anyway, how has the traditional publishing experience been for you?
It's been pretty great. What can you say?
17 books, right?
Right.
I was going to say, I felt like you don't have to worry about anything. You know, there's just a team kind of taking care of you.
I really enjoy the art team that's produced this series of books. They listen to what you want, and they actually make the changes that you desire, and they're very creative. My original, the first books were kind of monochrome. These ones, they're sliding into blues and pinks and everything else in this Victorian background. It's interesting.
Very cool.
Hmm.
Well, you talked about how you sit nearby each other with your laptops. What does a typical writing day look like for both of you? What is your process?
Well, we're both full-time writers now, so everything's different than it was just 3 or 4 years ago when we were working full-time and had to write at night and on weekends. So now we're able to pace ourselves a little bit better and experiment with different times of day where we feel more creative. I think Will really enjoys writing in the morning, and I've started bending toward writing in the afternoons a lot lately, and sometimes even the evening.
I get up in the morning and then I have a bucket of coffee, and then I go to my Tai Chi class, and then I come back and I have another bucket of coffee, and I sit down to write. It flows from there.
Does the Tai Chi play a role in the writing, or is that just...
Yes, to some degree. I'm always doing some martial art over all these years, and so I'm always learning, and it's always stuff I can use in the books. So it works out really well.
I'm going to ask you guys another question. This is not unlike the first one, but I know you can think of something to say. So you've done 17 books, Will. Julia, at least 3. What are you up to now?
I'm up to 5. I had
5.
I had published 2 mystery novels in 2016 and 2017, and then I took off a little time and thought, I think that mystery wasn't my field. So I ended up connecting in the historical fiction.
Well, that feeds right into my question, because I was about to ask, what have you learned during your writing journey? What are the lessons, tell all, so that others can avoid making the mistakes? And I think that's what you were kind of saying, isn't it?
I did something kind of crazy. I applied to and got into the Yale Writers Workshop in 2019. And I had already published 2 mysteries that were critically acclaimed, but didn't sell and, just didn't satisfy that need that I had to write. And I ended up finding out all my flaws, all of everything that I needed to work on when I was at Yale. So that was really fun. I did the summer session. And when I came home, he'd had us writing, our writing coach had had us writing so many different types of writing that I wasn't even sure what I wanted to write. So I just pulled out my favorite books and realized the things that I love most are historical fiction. And so, I just felt like that was a great starting place for me.
Write what you love, right? Or as they say in Happily We Roll Along, don't write what you know, write what you know.
I
totally stole that from Stephen Sondheim, but anyway. Will, how about you? Over the course of 17 books, what are lessons you've learned?
Keep learning. I constantly figure out what the next book is going to be about, and I have to come up with new things every time. I don't like the whole regurgitating the same stuff that you've been doing over and over again. And I've gotten, inspiration from so many different things that don't have to do with mystery or don't have to do with Victorian England. And it was able to, put those into the book and to see what's in the mix. It's like cooking, you toss the carrots in, you toss this in, ooh, a little chocolate or something like that, crazy that you wouldn't normally think of, and it works out.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
I know you both will know what I mean when I say this, but getting to read Will's books before they're ever really a book, isn't it a delight? It's like you're in on the most delicious surprise when you read each other's writing and you're shocked at where they took it this time. And I feel like I'm still surprised and excited by where Will's going with his books. And I know he's been surprised at some of the things I've done. I know you two have gone through that as well.
Laura was the first in the world.
I don't have to keep his latest book a secret anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, here's the Mysterious Mr. K in the Daniel Pike series. I dragged that out for 6 books. Only she knew. So
only she knew.
But then I knew what the next book. Now, I mean, the Superman Wars is being released in April now. I don't have to keep it a secret, but for a long time I had read it and I knew it was great. And he was being very coy about what was coming up next. He couldn't announce it until it was, done deal and the publisher had done their thing. So yeah, sometimes it's hard to be quiet.
Yeah. You've probably done this before. It's like, hey, is this supposed to be me in this book?
Yeah, except in my case, I am positively certain that I am in that series. Maybe that's just, like You're So Vain, you probably think this song is about you, but no, it's me. One last question for both of you. What next? What can we expect to see coming from you guys next? Will, what about you?
This next book I've got is, well, let me begin this way. Back when I was writing the first book, there was a site on the connected to the Scotland Yard website, and it had a list of events that occurred in Victorian England, all the way up to the present day. And I'm still using things out of that thing that's now, 20 years ago. I'm still getting things out. And the one I'm writing about now is an unknown thing in history anymore, which was that Sun Yat-sen, the Chinese guy who, was the one who, changed the government, from being a monarchy to being, their new form of government, was in London, and he got kidnapped by the Chinese embassy and was kept in a prison cell for several weeks before he was finally freed by government officials that were bugged by the reporters at that time. So this is like a little unknown bit of history buried in this book from this website, and I started that and I just ran with it from there on, and it was just amazing that it turned out like it did.
Yeah. Julia, how about you?
I'm doing research right now on my 4th historical novel, and this one also will be set in the 1960s. So I'm really excited about that time period.
Fun.
Sounds fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Hey, let's not wait another 200 episodes before we do this again. Okay.
Absolutely. But great to see you both.
Yes, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Bye-bye now.
We'll see you in person.
Just a few parting words. I'm going to focus on the WriterCon cruise, in part because I'm currently cold and it won't be on the cruise. It's cold outside, it's cold inside, it's just cold and I'm tired of it. I mean, we had fun in Alaska last year on the cruise, well, earlier this year, and last cruise, and it was Holland America, which I really like. So we're going to stick with that cruise line. But this time we're doing Eastern Caribbean, which we haven't done before. Lots of fun islands and whatnot I've never been to. Leaves from Fort Lauderdale for 8 days, so beautiful beaches, but most importantly, over 20 hours of writing instruction from Lara and me and Betsy Kulikowski, author of, I'm going to guess, 10 wonderful books. And she's been on the podcast before. We'll be there. Plus an onboard agent, Catherine Sands, terrific agent who's sold lots of books, including 2 for me. So, and she will be happy to speak to every person on the cruise. So don't miss out. Plan to be with us. It's March 7th through 15th, and visit the WriterCon website for more information. That's WriterCon, as you'd probably guess, WriterCon.com. All right. Until next time, keep writing, and remember, you cannot fail if you refuse to quit. See you next time.